Wind skims the tundra at the edge of the Ural Mountains, driving snow so fine it looks like smoke. The horizon is nearly empty. At minus 50 degrees Celsius, metal burns bare skin, breath freezes on fur, and distance becomes danger. Here, winter is not a season. It is the authority. It decides when a family moves, what they eat, where they sleep, and how long a fire must last. A camp appears like a small island in white silence. Reindeer, sleds, children inside canvas and smoke. To understand how anyone survives here, you first have to understand the animal that makes this life possible. I am Nathan Frost, and in the far north, I have learned that survival is never a matter of toughness alone. It is organization, repetition, knowledge passed from hand to hand. By the end of this journey, you will see how a nomadic family builds a winter life that can move. The shelter, the food, the children, the tools, the risks. From the outside, this can look like freedom. Endless white space. No roads, no walls. But on the tundra, nothing is loose. Every rope, every sled, every piece of fur has a purpose. One mistake can travel through the whole camp. And at the center of that logic is not a machine, a road, or a village. It is the herd. For the Nomads, the reindeer is not just an animal kept beside the camp. It is the system that makes the camp possible. Across the tundra, roads can disappear under snow for months. Engines freeze, fuel runs out, a map may show distance, but it does not show wind, ice crust, or a river crossing at dusk. In that world, the herd becomes transport, food, clothing, currency, and insurance. A strong reindeer pulls the sleds that carry the tent poles, stove, bedding, children, and stored meat. Its hide becomes winter clothing and sleeping covers. Its meat feeds the family. Its antlers, sinew, and bone become tools or trade. The size and health of the herd tells you more about a family's security than any bank account. This is why survival here begins before the storm. It begins with reading animals. Which ones are tired? Which ones can lead? Which ones should not be risked on bad ice? Modern people often imagine survival as equipment. In the far north, equipment matters, but knowledge comes first. But even the strongest herd cannot keep people alive unless the camp itself runs like a careful machine. Inside the chum, winter is not outside. It presses against every seam. The stove has to be fed before the heat drops. Snow is cleared from the entrance before it hardens into a wall. Bedding is shaken, dried, and layered so no one sleeps against damp fur. Boots are checked, mittens are mended. A small tear today can become frostbite tomorrow. Everyone has work. Children stay close to the warm center and learn by watching. Elders guard knowledge that cannot be written down quickly enough. How smoke should move, how hides should lie. When the wind has changed, someone cooks, someone hauls ice or snow for water, someone steps out into the dark to check the sleds, the ropes, the animals. Food is not simply prepared, it is protected from freezing too hard. Thawed with care, cut with tools that must still bite in deep cold. Fire is not comfort here. Insulation is not luxury. Together they mark the line between a family at rest and exposure. The camp survives because ordinary tasks are done before they become urgent. Yet this camp is not meant to stay in one place for long, because the food source that matters most is always moving. The reindeer do not wait for spring. Even in deep winter, they are feeding. They nose through the snow, break the crust with their hooves, and reach the lichen below. If the herd stays too long, that ground is stripped. The animals weaken. The camp weakens with them. So the family moves because the herd must move. On the Yamal Peninsula, this migration can stretch for hundreds of kilometers, and in some routes, up to 1,000 kilometers toward the Kara Sea. From Moscow, a flight to Yamal takes less than 3 hours. But once the roads end, distance changes meaning. A camp may be close on a map and still unreachable by ordinary travel. Movement is not wandering, it is management. Each new stopping place gives the reindeer fresh grazing. Each departure gives the old ground time to recover. The route follows snow depth, wind, ice, river crossings, and the memory of families who have made the journey before. The chum, the sleds, the children, the food, the tools, everything must travel with the animals. The herd is not property standing outside the camp. It is the engine of the camp. But crossing distance is only part of the challenge. Winter makes every mile a test. At minus 50 degrees Celsius, winter travel stops being a journey and becomes a calculation. A loose rope is not small. It can let a load shift, crack a sled runner, and leave food or bedding behind on the snow. A scattered herd is not just an inconvenience, it is movement, warmth, transport, and future meat walking away into white distance. The danger is often simple cause and effect. Wet clothing freezes stiff. Then it steals heat. A delayed fire means cold hands stay cold longer, and cold hands cannot tie knots, cut wood, or handle harness. In a whiteout, the land loses shape. Sky and ground become one pale wall, and even experienced travelers can miss a camp, a riverbank, or a safe line through drifts. This is why toughness is never enough. A good traveler reads the snow before the sled sinks. He watches the wind before it turns. He stops before exhaustion makes the next decision for him. Pride is expensive out here. So is hurry. The family survives by keeping problems small. Repair the sled before it breaks. Dry the mittens before night. Gather the herd before weather closes in. In the far north, survival is prevention. That is why the most dramatic part of nomadic life is often not the storm. It is the quiet work before the storm arrives. By morning, the camp is already working. A woman checks a pot, cuts frozen meat, and keeps the stove alive. A man turns a sled on its side and studies the runner, because one split board can ruin a moving day. Harness straps are pulled through stiff fingers, knots are tested, loads are tightened again, even if they were tightened yesterday. Children are not outside the work. They carry small bundles, watch younger ones, fetch tools, and learn which reindeer is calm, which one pulls hard, which one should not be approached from behind. Elders may move more slowly, but their value is not measured in strength. They remember routes, weather signs, family histories, and mistakes that must not be repeated. This is the part the romantic picture leaves out. Freedom on the tundra is built from chores. Mend the clothing, sort the supplies, haul fuel, feed people before they are exhausted, keep the animals close enough to gather, but not so tight they weaken. Nothing here is separate. A bad meal becomes tired hands. Tired hands miss a damaged harness. A damaged harness costs a reindeer. And much of that discipline comes from knowledge older than the modern map. That older knowledge is not kept for ceremony. It is used because it still solves problems. A skin is not just a material, it is insulation, bedding, repair cloth, trade value, and proof that an animal was not wasted. A knife is not just a tool, it prepares food, shapes wood, trims harness, opens ice, and turns a damaged thing back into a usable thing. In villages and camps where roads are few, clinics are far, and supplies arrive late, tradition becomes infrastructure. Children learn it without a classroom. They watch how meat is sliced when it is frozen hard. They notice which fur faces inward, which seam must not catch snow, which boots stay warm because they are made for standing still as much as walking. They learn animals by pattern, a lowered head, a restless pull, a silence in the herd that tells you something has changed. This is why elders matter so deeply here. Arctic anthropology reported Nenet's tundra elders over 100 years old, including 2 who recovered from COVID-19 and pneumonia in a hospital in Novi Urengoy. Their lives carry more than age. They carry tested memory. But if this knowledge has carried people for generations, the question now is whether the next generation will choose to carry it forward. Real pressure is not only the cold. The cold is brutal, but it is familiar. People know how to dress for it, how to read it, how to wait inside it. What is harder to control is the chain that makes life possible in the first place. A migration route must stay open. The herd must remain strong enough to pull sleds, feed families, and produce the next season of animals. The camp needs enough hands to load, mend, cook, watch, and move. And someone must still know when to leave, where to cross, and when a quiet sky is lying. This life is not survival because people are cut off from the world. It works because they are connected to one very specific world with great precision. Land, reindeer, family, memory, break one link and winter becomes something different. So the answer to how a family survives the far northern winter is both simpler and harder than it first appears. It is simple and it is hard. A family survives winter here by keeping the system intact. The reindeer pull the sleds, carry the camp, provide meat, hides, and movement. The people red the snow, repair the harness, cut wood, melt ice, feed children, and watch the herd in darkness. The route is not guessed, it is remembered. Nothing works alone. A warm tent means someone gathered fuel. A meal means an animal was chosen, butchered, shared, and respected. A safe crossing means older knowledge reached younger hands in time. Even sleep depends on trust, because while one person rests, another is listening for wind, dogs, bells, and hooves. That is the answer to the question we began with. In a place where one broken sled or one bad storm can become fatal, survival is not conquest, it is partnership. With animals, with weather, with family, with memory, and the future is still uncertain. This life needs open land, strong herds, and young people willing to carry the work forward. If this film showed you something unexpected, tell me in the comments what surprised you most: the migration, the cold, the workload, or the role of the reindeer. Thank you for watching.